watching Leicester Till I Die TV.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform.
Or ask your smart speaker
To play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Right, Chris.
All right. Good evening, good day, good morning, good afternoon, good night, goodbye. Hello. Welcome along. How are you all? This is LTID TV from Leicester Till I Die. Thank you for joining us. If you are watching us live, please feel free. It is the prediction show to get your comments and predictions in the chat. Hopefully, if you're part of the prediction league itself, you'll have already sent those over to Brad. And if you're listening on podcast, join in just for a bit of fun. See how you do against the rest of us. This is, of course, the prediction show. This is where you can find us, Leicester Till I Die. Let's go Leicester Till I Die TV, LTID TV on YouTube, and you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, everything else. Podcasts, either as LTID TV or Leicester Till I Die. Search one or the other, and it should bring us up wherever you are looking. But this is the prediction show. And if I can find the right video to play, which I probably can't because I've absolutely no idea where I've put it. But we do bring it to you in conjunction with foxy7clothing.co.uk, which is, of course, Steve Lynex's very own brand. I'm sure I had it very, very handy. There we go. I knew it was somewhere.
The prediction show from Leicester Till I Die TV is brought to you by ex-Fox Steve Lynex and foxy7clothing.co.uk.
Back of the net.
Indeed. And I have to be honest with you, it is going to be a very, very, very quick show tonight. I'm on my own. Brad is with family down in Cornwall. Should be buying me a Gangster's pasty. If he doesn't bring me a Gangster's pasty, got he sacked. You heard it here first. Steve hasn't got back to me, so he was in Germany apparently, doing a bit of the old living all right. Do you remember that? Boys on the Black stuff. Or was it? It could have been a holiday. I've no idea. And obviously, I've only just found out I'm on my own, and getting somebody in at the very last minute is always hard because obviously people have plans. So basically, we'll be going through the predictions very quickly. I will predicting what I'm going to predict. Hopefully, like I say, you've sent all yours into Brad. If you haven't by now, and a couple of you missed it last week, so you got nil point. You've got to be sure to get them in. So, yeah, please to say, bear with me. It is going to be a very, 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 very quick show. And at the end, we will bring up the, what's the word I'm looking for? Tables. We'll do that at the end. So let's just go through these predictions first of all. I'm going to say hello to... should be getting me a cottage clean. Anthony, if you want to come in, mate, I can send you the link if you want to come in and join me and keep me company. Gray is saying it's evening all. I'm in Burley Court Hotel just to fly and visit. He's gone 4-0 for the Foxes tomorrow. To be honest with you, I just think he's in court. That's what you're trying to... He's trying to make it sound posh. He's in court, really. Don't tell him I said that. All right, Gray, how you doing, buddy? Anthony, oh, mate, How are you doing? Big game for you this weekend in the Premier League with your second team, Arsenal. Like I say, do you want to come in and join me? You're in the prediction league. If you want to come in and have a bit of a do, you can give me your predictions as we go through. Yeah, I definitely. And he's going to get me some cottage cream. Surely he's got to get me a scone. Now, before we start, can I just say, before anybody comes in here, it is not a scone, right? It is not a scone. Scones do not exist. It is a scone. And the reason I know that, how do you spell it? Scone. It's not a bon, it's a bone. So think about it. If it was a scone, it would be a bon. It isn't. It is a scone. So you should be getting me a scone. Anyway, I'm just going to tell you, you may think differently, but you're totally wrong. Just thought I'd let you know that. Should we get on with some scores? I don't think Anthony's going to be able to pop in. So, hello, Scott. How are you, sir? Hope you are well. Like I say, if anybody wants to come in and join me and be my +1 for the evening, you are more than welcome. Otherwise, we're just going to quickly run through these. There is a game that has kicked off, and I have gone for Birmingham West Brom as a 2-2 draw. Now, Brad knows this, and I did send him to this earlier, so he has got this in already for me. That has kicked off. I don't know. Let's just check what the score is. How is my result? It was 1-1 earlier. It's Birmingham City 2-1 now. So my 2-2 is on. Don't mess with my 2-2. Got a little woman. Do you remember that one? Denise LaSalle, I do believe it was. So it's Birmingham City 2, West Bromwich Albion 1. I've gone 2-2. You're looking at Birmingham, who had all the fanfare of being bought by this American quarterback or whatever he is, but they're sitting in fifth. Well, they've gone up to fifth because they're winning at the moment, and West Brom are down to sixth. So fifth playing sixth there, so they're reasonably quite high. Can you believe it's a quarter of the season tomorrow? Quarter of the season. Anyway, I have gone 2-2 for that one. Early game tomorrow. It's a 12:30 kickoff, and it's Cardiff host. No, it's not. It's Sunderland hosting Middlesbrough. Bear with me. I should have written Specsavers. You're sitting on the fence. I tell you what, mate. It's literally, for those of you that listen to me on the radio in the morning, if I say to you cheek parting, you'll know what I'm on about, and that's what the fence is doing for me. So yeah, I have gone for 2-2 tonight. Now it won't surprise you, therefore, Scott, to know what I've gone for Sunderland against Middlesbrough. Sunderland are doing all right. They're up in fourth. I mean, they've played 10 so far. They've won 6, lost 3, plus 12 goal difference, 19 points. So they are totally up there. Oh, okay. Cheers, Anthony. Bear with me 1 second. Bear with here. I shall send Anthony the link. All by myself, just wanna be all by myself. And now you know why I'm a DJ and why I am not a singer. Send it over to you, Anthony. So Anthony can go through, because he will have obviously sent his results into Brad, so he can go through those. These are mine, and Brad knows I'm going to send these over to him later on today. But they're going to be up, well, you're going to watch on here, so you know they're going to be true. But yeah, so Sunderland are fourth. Good start for them. I had them at the start of the season as being one of the playoff contenders. They only just missed out last season. Middlesbrough, they've won the last 3, in fairness to them. So they're actually turning it round. For me, Middlesbrough, they had a good end of season last season under Michael Carrick. They only just missed out on the playoffs. I'm just going to see if I can get last season's table up as well, just while we're waiting for Anthony. Because they did, if I remember, finished very, very well. Here he is. Bristol's favourite son. Anthony, sir, how the devil
Hey,
are
Chris, you all right?
I am. It's been a long, long time.
It's been a while. It's been a while, mate.
It has. It has. You haven't changed.
Oh, that's good. That's good news.
Oh, I don't
Very
know.
good news.
It's still as ugly as you always were. How's that good lady of yours?
Yeah, she's all right. She's fine. I told her I'm coming on here tonight, and I vanished her upstairs. She's gone upstairs out the way.
Warming herself up for you for later, is she?
Oh my God, I don't know. I don't know what these things are anymore now, Chris.
Welcome to my world, sir. Welcome to my world. You've sent your predictions into Brad, have you?
I have sent my predictions into Brad. Yeah.
Right. So if you just run through yours, and then we will sort of compare them. So go into tonight's game, because I'd gone for 2-2, because it's a local derby. And to be honest with you, they're both very close to each other. Because you've got Birmingham were now they were 6th and West Brom were 5th. They've swapped positions now because Birmingham are winning at the moment. So I've gone for a Desmond. What did you go for this one?
I actually went on the fence with this one as well. I went for a 1-1 draw. So
for a bit, you were happy then.
I was happy for a bit. You know, I was watching the game a little bit, and I thought, well, I'll come on here. But yeah, I mean, with these derbies, it don't matter where you are in the league these days. Anything can possibly happen. So
yes, yeah. No, you're totally right, and that's exactly the same with the early kickoff tomorrow, which is Sunderland hosting Middlesbrough. Like I say, Sunderland have had a good start. They're sat in 4th on 19 points. Not as good as a certain Midlands team in the blue, but Middlesbrough have had a bit of a good run because they've won 3 on the trot.
Yes, they have. Yeah, they started off poor, Middlesbrough. Well, they actually sought their top goal scorer, Akpom. And they were struggling to find a goal of late and actually winning games. So that was that was a major down blow. But they seem to be playing well at the minute, Middlesbrough, and obviously with Sunderland as well. I've actually, for this game, for my predictions, I actually predicted, because Sunderland are playing really well at the minute, I actually predicted 2-0 to Sunderland. My prediction was.
To be honest with you, if you can't remember, it doesn't worry. Just go with what you think, because obviously Brad will use the ones that you've sent in anyway.
Yeah.
But you're quite right. Sunderland have started well, but Middlesbrough are turning. It's quite funny because last season they finished 4th. Obviously, they lost out in the playoff semis, and everybody was screaming that we should go for Carrick as manager. And that didn't last long. At the start of the season, they soon changed their mind. But you've gone 2-0 for Sunderland. Now guess what? You'll never guess this, Scott, but I've actually gone out for a draw. I do like my draws, if you pardon the expression, but they do make me legs itch. But yeah, I've gone for 1-1 for this one, simply because, like you say, especially with any derby, Northeast, Merseyside, Glasgow, form just goes out the window, doesn't it?
It does. It totally goes out the window, and I mean, both teams. It's like what I said. No matter where you are in the league, both teams are going to be up for it. For a derby, and it's still better if it plays on the day, Chris. Who's playing the most better and attractive football. But I mean, we have known in the Championship, we have known some smashing grabs, and unfortunately, they've been a winner for the opposite team. So, I mean, good luck to anybody on this weekend. If their team plays and and they win, and that's it.
Yeah, no, you're quite right. Scott says, "How can Anthony decide in two teams in red and white?" That is a very good question.
Very good question, Scott.
Yes, but I think you could be right, and the fact that it's at Sunderland will give them the edge. But anything can happen. Anything can happen. So I've gone 2-1. Sorry, I've gone 1-1. Now Cardiff are playing Watford. Now we're back to all the other kickoffs at 3:00. Cardiff actually doing better than I thought they would do. They did lose last week, but they'd won the previous 4, and they're sat in 9th. Watford, surprised they've still stuck with their manager after 10 games, but they're sat in 21st, so they're only just above the relegation zone by 1 point, so they could be dragged into it. For me, I think if they are dragged into it, I think the manager will go. You know what they're like at Watford. And I've actually agreed with Scott, and I have gone for 2-1 for Cardiff as well.
Yeah, I mean, this game, to be honest with you, over the years when you actually seen this game, it has actually got goals in it. You know, so and it's been quite high scoring game. So on this one, I actually went for a win for Watford. I think I went 3-2 Watford. I can remember that one.
You have gone for a high scoring game, haven't you?
Yeah.
Are you surprised by? I mean, what? All right, Norwich, kind of up and down, but they're sort of bobbing along just under the radar at the top in 7th. But are you surprised at Watford's form this season?
Yeah, very surprised. But I mean, obviously the style of play, I think it's like it hasn't helped with the amount of managers that they've had there.
Yeah.
I mean, in all fairness, if I was a player for Watford, and I wouldn't know where I was coming or going, to be honest with you, because obviously different managers, styles, tactics, it just sort of it has a bit of an effect on the team. And obviously this is and this is what's happening at Watford. So I mean, trust the process, as they normally say, Chris. Just stick with the manager and see what he's got.
I've heard that before. I'm not sure where, but I have heard it before. But like you say, no, I mean, every manager has a different style. And every manager is going to want to bring his own team, players in, etc. So how do Watford ever get a settled squad or a regular playing pattern? They can't, can they?
No, they can't. No. It's like what you said.
I remember they're owned, aren't they, by Italians?
That's right. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. And
somebody said to me that in Italy, the thing is that they do tend to change managers a lot.
They do, because they like that. It's a bit like, whether you watch the teams in Italy or the actual national team, they like to play that fluent football, no matter what. So if they're not playing that and they're playing quite poorly, they're not gelling as a team, they're pretty much down the bottom half of the table. Is only the manager, you might as well say at the minute, he's on borrowed time. And it's sad to see that, really, but these things do happen in football.
Well, I do, and I find it hard to feel sorry for any manager that's sacked, because they do get a huge payoff.
Yeah,
they can go and put the feet up for 12 months, can't they?
Oh, they certainly can. Yeah,
But now I'm surprised. This next one, it's Coventry at home against Norwich, so the tale of two cities. Coventry. Now I know, obviously, they're to me, I think they're our biggest rivals simply because they're the nearest club, and that's how I judge rivals. And they obviously missed out in the playoff final last season. Obviously, we beat them on we beat them on the opening day. But I'm really surprised how they've struggled this term. All right, they haven't got a couple of loan players that they haven't got this season. One of them, Doyle, has come to us, although he's injured now. But they're actually sat down in 13th. They've played 10. They've won 3. They've draw specialists 5. And they've lost 2. They can score goals because they've got 16 goals. But they can also concede because, well, I've said that a lot of teams seem to be conceding in the Championship. They conceded 12. How do you see this one going?
I actually went. I think. Do you know what? I got a favour Coventry. I got to favour Coventry. I think they're playing well at the minute. They bought, they bought a few of our ex-players.
Okay.
They got about 3 or 4 ex-Bristol City players, and they're playing well. One of them that do stick out in mind is obviously is Casey Palmer. He's that attacking midfielder. So he's playing really well. He's gelled into the team quite quickly, and also it was a bit like last season. They really had a good season, Coventry. So and they can come up in even against the top teams. Obviously that they can really put on a performance, and obviously they can pull a result out the bag. When you don't expect it when they play against them. So, but yeah, I have to favour Coventry this one. So I'm going to go 2-1 Coventry.
2-1 to Coventry. Now, I like I say, I had Coventry again to be a playoff contender, and I know they're a rival, but I still think, having missed out quite often, you see teams that miss out in the final of a playoff, sort of learn from it and come back sort of strong the following season. And again, I'm surprised that they haven't. Norwich, I was surprised because obviously we played Norwich and we beat them, and I was disappointed. There's a few teams that have been doing well that I was disappointed in. Norwich are one of them, and they've got the new manager, Farker. Is it not? No, they've not got Farker. Who's the manager at Norwich these days?
It was last time I heard it was the ex Huddersfield manager. Was it that?
That's right, Wagner. That's the
Wagner,
one.
yeah.
I'm getting him and Farker mixed up. Farker's at Leeds, isn't he? But they can't get any consistency. Norwich for me, and I've gone exactly the same as you. I've gone for 2-1 to Coventry as well.
He's just the same. He obviously coming at the tail end, obviously towards last season, and trying to achieve something like that. Obviously, winning games, and getting points and getting as far up the table as he could, as he possibly could. But I think times are a bit stale at Norwich, if that's the right terms to use. I mean, it's like what you said. They're not really achieving anything. I mean, they're lucky. I mean, within 5 games, they're most probably win 1, drawn 2, and then just lose the odd 3. Like, do you know what I mean? So they seem to keep repeating that performance, week in and week out.
And if they do go up, the chances are they're going to come straight back down again, obviously.
True.
But which is a bit weird, really, because by doing that, you don't get any playoff money, because you don't get the playoff money in the first season you come down. No. Because you've just basically been given the money from last season's Premier League. So that's the money you get this first season down. It's only if you stay down that you then get the parachute payments, as they say. But no, I've agreed with you. Scott, having wound me up totally about going for draws all week, has gone for a 2-2 himself. So he's gone for a Desmond. Now, this to me is this is the game I'm going to be keeping half an eye on. Ipswich Town against Preston. It's second against third. We played Preston midweek, and I have to be totally honest with you, they were a pile of shite. How that team, that team is third, or got to third, or even were top at one point, I do not know. Now, look, don't get me wrong, I'm not being big-headed here, but out of the 3 teams that have come down, Leicester at the moment are probably the biggest, because we've won the FA Cup only a few seasons ago. We've most recently been league champions out of the 3 of us. That's been obviously Southampton never have, and Leeds it was pre-Premier League. So we're the ones with the target on our back. So we expect teams to come and defend and park the bus, and hope to come away from the King Power with a point. And it's up to us to break them down. Now, we have been doing, in fairness, it took us I think about the 60th minute or something to score against them, but they offered absolutely nothing. I mean, the commentator said they were playing with 1 up front, and he must have been the loneliest man in Leicester the other night, because he was out there on his own, hardly got a touch on the ball, and you can't go through 90 minutes like that. And once they get the first, it was obvious then that the second and third were gonna come. And but Preston really disappointed me. Ipswich, now, well, for me, Ipswich, I wanted their manager to be our manager, to be honest with you. Although obviously Enzo's doing a fairly decent job at the time, although he excited me as the signing, it didn't fill me with a lot of confidence because of his experience. And I would have liked the Ipswich manager or Blackburn Rovers manager, one of those two. Now, obviously, the Ipswich guy, he's in the second. They've been top as well, so they've proved, that he's doing a good job there. For me, I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go for another draw on this one, 2-2, simply because that will be the best result for Leicester.
Yeah. Do you know, I could most probably, well, I know where you're coming from, but this, I'm amazed by Ipswich this season. But it was the game against I think they had Blackburn Rovers going about 2 weeks ago, and that finished up I think it was something like 4-3. So they're capable of scoring goals. Okay, they were a bit shaky in that team defending, but I mean, you can't argue with them. And that manager, he's got that team down to a T. So with that, and I can understand why you want it with Leicester, I'm going to have to go for an Ipswich win here. So I'm going to go 2-1 Ipswich.
2-1 to Ipswich. And in fairness, Paul's gone 2-0, and Scott's gone for a Preston win, 3-2. My God, Scott, whatever you're drinking, I'll have some of. we haven't played Ipswich yet. We've got that to come, I think, towards back end of the year. But Preston, hugely disappointing. They really, really were. Now then, this is interesting because the next game, now I don't mind Leeds. I've got to be honest with you. I know a lot of people hate Leeds because of the old dirty Leeds tag and what have you. But look, it was what it was at the time. And let's be honest with you, if any team played like they used to in the 70s these days, you'd end up with two aside. If you ever watch the big game replayed on ITV4, my God, it's more violent than Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield.
Is that with the ear or without the ear?
Well, either or. I know what you mean. But what I liked about Leeds was when they got promoted, unlike a certain East Midlands team in red, they weren't crowing. There was none of this, we're back where we belong. It was a case of they came up and went, fucking hell, it's great to be back. That was their attitude. And then, but Forest were like, well, we're back where we belong, European, and all this sort of thing. So I actually don't mind Leeds fans. Look, Bristol City, obviously you came to Leicester, and in fairness, you did give me a fright. And you only lost by the single goal, which was a penalty, which I think was a penalty. In all honesty, you may say not. I don't
No. I think it was definitely a penalty in my opinion.
Yeah.
It
was well spotted by the referee. In fairness, but I've got a soft spot for Bristol because of the Leicester connection.
Yeah.
It was good to see Nigel back. Will he be there? Is he gone in for he's got back? He's having a back operation, isn't he?
Well, yeah. I mean, 1 minute is his back. It was going back about 2 weeks ago. I was actually surprised. We've seen him in crutches.
Yes. He was at Leicester. Leicester.
Yeah. And he was very quiet. I was watching the last game on because that was live on Sky. When we beat Rotherham 2-1. We were pretty poor in that game. It was a bit of a boring game, but it took the second half to spell, and obviously Conway, you got our two goals. I think that that's one player to look at as well. He's been big, he's quite big down there.
Yeah,
and and the other teams. I mean, we didn't really make a lot of big signings. We always go for the cheaper option, and obviously bringing up the youth, because Bristol City's got a very good youth policy. Okay. Look at Alex Scott, gone to Bournemouth, and that. So we do rely on our quite a lot of our youth players coming through the academy. but yeah, I mean, there was a couple of them playing the other night. We played really well towards the end of the game, and what I saw was the last 30 minutes. We just put our foot on the gas on the accelerator, and we managed to come out with a 2-1 win. So that was really good. I mean, regarding this game, obviously with Leeds, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think they've got an injury to one of their players, one of their top players at Leeds. If I'm not mistaken.
I don't know. I'll bow to your
Yeah,
superior.
I think they have. I'm not too sure if it's their top goal scorer or what, but I mean, on the predictions, obviously reading that, I actually went on the fence, but I went for a Desmond on this one, Chris.
Oh, you went for a 2-2.
I went for a 2-2.
Right. Well, like I say, I do have a soft spot for Bristol. I've always liked Nigel Pearson, great guy. Completely different off camera to all the antics that you saw on camera. Got time for fans. Made my son's day when he came over and talked to us and kept Sky waiting because he was talking to us. Andy King the same. He was in the dugout, had time, he came over, he was chatting away. Lovely guy, Andy King. Obviously the only player to win the third tier, the second tier and the top tier at the same club. And you got Matty James, who I've got to say, but basically was great to see him playing because he had a horrendous time at Leicester with injuries. And I've got to be totally honest with you. For me, he was the better of the two between him and Drinkwater. Drinkwater did well because Kanté made him look good, but had James not got injured when we got promoted or just before we got promoted, we could have been a different story, and I think so I always did feel sorry for James, Matthew James, to be honest with you. And of course you got David Rennie there as well. That said, Bristol City, you sat in 12th at the moment. Again, it's consistency, mate, for you, isn't it? Win 4, draw 3, lose 3. Only just +2 on the goal difference. Now, Leeds had an awful start to the season. They've got Farker, haven't they, as their manager? And they had a lot of stuff with players on strike or something at the start. I don't know what it was all about, but got them back now, playing. They're up to 7th. A surprise loss the other night to Southampton, I think it was, wasn't it? They lost, but then they went and won last time out. 4-4-2, as in the wins, draws, and losses. I'm sorry to do this to you, mate, but I have gone 2-1 to Leeds.
No, that's all right. That's understandable. But
I wouldn't be disappointed if Bristol. And we have the banter, we do. We've had banter as long as we've known each other.
Yeah.
And I would love to see Bristol City do well. If you ever sack Nigel Pearson and Andy King leaves, then I won't be bothered about you. But while you've got them there, I do hope you do well, and I'd like to see you do well. And if you get up into the playoffs and get into the top tier, I'd be happy for you. I don't know who you'd support when you played Arsenal, though. But
no, it'd be my home team, Bristol City. It will be Bristol City on that one.
It will. Good.
Yeah.
Let's have a look what we've got. We've now got what Boris, who I don't know if you've ever been in the chat and seen Boris. Boris, who absolutely loves Jamie Vardy. Apparently, Vardy should be playing 90 minutes for 38 games of the season. He'll score 10 goals in every game, according to Boris. But apparently, he thought we were boring against Preston. And he thinks we're playing really boring football this season. Now, look, I had a Stoke fan on last night. We did a preview. And I don't want to come across as big-headed because at the start of the season, because I was talking to Dan earlier, and, he was sort of saying like, last night, sorry, I was talking to Dan. He was in the chat I was doing with Ant. Yeah. And he said, you didn't think you'd be doing the Burnley, but you're doing better than we were at this point and all that. I think it's a very hard division to get out of this. I cannot believe what I am looking at when I look at Leicester City. And whenever I talk about my team, I've got a huge smile on my face. But if I go back 12 months, I was ready for slitting my wrists. I really was.
Yeah.
Metaphorically, can I just say it before anybody tries to cancel me for saying that? It was awful last season. We didn't sign anybody apart from Voutface because Fofana went walkabout to Chelsea. It was absolutely awful. We were getting stuffed 6-2 by Tottenham. Brighton put 5 past us. Arsenal put 5, I think, or 4 or 5 past us. You absolutely murdered us. And it was depressing. So the fact that we're winning, I'm quite happy. Now, I did a thing here for about Leicester for Boris. We've got the most points in the division, 21.
Yeah.
We've got the most wins in the division, 9. We've got the least number of draws in the division, 0. We've got the equal lowest games lost in the division, 1. We've got the equal top goal scoring team with 21, joint with Ipswich. We have got the tightest defence in the division. We've only let 6 goals in, and therefore we've got the highest goal difference of anybody in the division. Now, if that is boring, bore me every week, please. Because
I don't understand that comment. Why the hell are you boring? If you're a boring team, surely you're going to be down towards the bottom and not near the top. I mean, you look at it compared from last season. I mean, this time last season, Burnley wasn't even top. They weren't even top. And I believe, if anything, I think, if my mind serves me correctly, I mean, somebody can correct me in the comments, I think Blackburn Rovers was up there. Because they were lingering about, that obviously the third, second, I think they were top at one time. And it may have been Blackburn Rovers. They
were up there, and they just sort of fell away towards the end, didn't they? They missed out on the playoffs. But Burnley didn't have this sort of start.
No.
And apparently, if we win tomorrow, we will have the best ever start by any team in the second tier of English football ever.
Yeah.
We've equalled it apparently now. And again, if this is wrong, somebody will correct me, but this is what I believe is true. So if we can win tomorrow, then we've set a record. And we are, when we got Enzo, I was excited. I mean, how can you not be excited by signing the manager that 6 days before you signed him was holding up the Champions League trophy?
Yeah.
And he'd done it all with the youth team at Manchester City. We then knew that he'd have the contacts and the style of play. There was a bit of the worry about the fact of what he did at Parma. But I'm just basically, I got a huge smile on my face and just taking it all in and bring it on. Downside, and there's always going to be a downside, is before the last international break, Hull beat us 1-0.
Right.
And they were so happy. I've got to be honest. You think, looking at a couple of their shows afterwards, you'd think they'd have won the league. But Stoke, they've got a lot of injuries. There are going to be a lot of youth players out there apparently tomorrow. It's at Leicester. We are on a run. I can't see anything other than a Leicester win. And I wasn't even saying this last season either. And Stoke are down in 18th. 1-3 drawn, 1-6 lost, -4 goal difference. They've lost, drawn, lost, won, lost. Inconsistent again. I've gone and I know I've spoken a lot about this, but it's bound to, obviously, with it being Leicester. But I've gone for a 3-0 Leicester win. Yeah.
I also, in my predictions, I went for a Leicester win as well. And I believe, do you know what? I think I went 3-1 as well. I given Stoke a goal. The only reason being because last week we lost 3-2 to Stoke last week, and I was fuming because I don't know how we lost that game. It was a game that we were in control. You look at the stats, the shots on goal, the possession we had, and the shots on target. And Stoke, amazing. I don't know why, but it was like, I don't know, 2-0 up, 2-2, and then losing it 3-2. So we really sat back on there, and I mean, I know Nigel Pearson. Obviously, he wasn't obviously happy after the
Stoke
game.
fan wasn't either. We had on last night. He did mention that.
But yeah, he's. But then again, I mean, we managed to turn it around against Rotherham. So, but yeah, I mean, Stoke normally wins. I can't see nothing here apart from a Leicester win. And I've got to say this, Chris, as well. With your manager, your new manager you've got in, he's actually doing a good job.
Yeah.
You know, he's doing a fantastic job. You're not boring. I tell you what, it beats having a bellend in charge. I knew I had to come on the show and say that word.
I mean, now he's gone. Sorry, did you beat Stoke or did you lose to Stoke?
No, we lost to Stoke 3-2.
Oh, you lost to Stoke. I thought they'd beaten you. Sorry.
No. Yeah, we lost. Yeah, they beat us. Yeah.
Ah, right. Sorry about that. Yes. Look, what Rodgers did at Leicester, he came in and he got us 5th place twice, and he got us to the FA Cup final, which we won. How we won it, you can say VAR, whatever. It was on his watch that we won the FA Cup. The problem was that he should have been gone before he did, and that was the problem. And kind of down to top. And I'm going to be doing a show next week because there's obviously no football on next week with the international break. Yeah. And I criticised Top a lot last season, and I've got to say he's got everything spot on. He took a gamble on Enzo, which seems to have paid off. He's him and Martin Glover, who obviously we got from Southampton as our recruitment manager, they've brought some great players in. Even the ones that we've got on loan, I think apart from Cassidy, everybody else is on a loan, and Doyle, sorry. The others we've got in are options, loans with options to buy, and everybody at the moment is saying, sign them up now, don't wait till the end of the season. I mean, we've gone from having one winger last season, we've got a team of them this season. And the funny thing was, I was speaking to the Stoke guy, and he said, like, oh yeah, we've had a lot of new signings, so it takes them a while to gel. And I said, yeah, but we're the same. You know, we've had a lot of new signings, but they've just clicked. And I know people are calling us the Man City of, you know, the champion. You know, they used to call us the PSG, but I don't like that anymore after the other night. But they call us the Man City of the Championship. But you have to remember, like I say, last season we didn't buy anybody.
No.
No, we didn't have any outlay at all because of FFP, and I worry about that. So we cut our cloth accordingly, and that's why we've got the money, if you like, to spend now. But you look at the players that we've brought in. We sold 2 players for 40 million. So we've got 80 million for our 2 players, which isn't bad for a relegated side to sell 2 players for 40 million quid each. And so, you know, we're still, I think, in a plus situation. And we've made some good signings. I mean, Bath Time's in. Hi, Bath Time. How are you doing? Welcome along. Winksy update, Chris. I mean, that guy, I mean, he's probably going to, this will be his last game for a while, not just because of the international break. He's one booking away from a suspension on yellow cards, and he'll probably get that tomorrow, knowing him. Why the Tottenham fans do not like him, I don't know. You know, he went to Sampdoria, I think it was, or an Italian team. He had a season over there, and he's come back and he's dropped a division. And he said, I want to drop a division. And, you know, you've got Enzo, I believe, where he plays. He is all over the fucking place. I am commentating on the watch-alongs, and I'm not... Who's that? There can't be Winks. He was out on the right wing. Now he's at left-back. He literally controls the game for us.
Yeah, he does. He really does. And I to be honest, do you know what? If you cast, I don't know if you can remember this, Chris, but if you cast your mind back about 2 seasons ago, I think Bath, because he's in, he can correct me on it. I think with Winks, I think Man United were after him at one time.
Were they? Right.
Yes, I think they were. And there was talk about it as well, because I did read it somewhere. I think it was on the Sky Sports app or something like that. But Yeah, I mean, he was a really good player, and obviously struggling to get into that team, the Tottenham team, and but I really thought like when he left there and he went to you at Leicester, I thought bloody hell, what a good signing that is. A player like that to be in the Championship. I feel that he knows that there's something going on at Leicester. I mean, you've got a few good players in. Obviously, you've had to sell some as well because you had to get players off the wage bill, I believe, because your wage bill was quite high.
When we look at our transfer window, the outside is
Yeah.
like half as long again as the inside. So again, that tells you something about how many players we got rid of and what have
Yeah.
you.
And oh yeah, you see that their back time. Yeah, both Man City and Man United were looking at him for. Yeah. Well,
I mean, Bath Time said here, I've always wanted Winks at United, to be honest. Hopefully we can rebuild his career with you and then we can buy him. Look, 80 million Bath Time, he's yours.
Yeah.
Let's just say that. All right, you like to pay £80 million. And let's be honest with you, when your defence in a Premier League game is 2 ex-Leicester City defenders in Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire, what's happening at Manchester United?
oh God.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Bath Time, but that did make me laugh when I saw. I'm like, Evans, Maguire, no, that can't be right. I'm drinking, But as Scott said, Winks is definitely our most industrious player. Great mentality. No, I love it. I love it. To me, we've signed some amazing players. Fatawa, my God, what he can do with the ball is unbelievable. Mavididi, Mavididi was the Arsenal wonder kid, wasn't he?
Yeah. And you've got him in it, and he's going to be coming on leaps and bounds.
Yeah,
he does need a lot. He does need a lot of game time under his belt, though. Because he would definitely improve Leicester. He'd be phenomenal. And obviously with Winks as well. I feel he's got to be the top player of your team. That's one of the most hard-working players on that pitch. Yeah. He'll give you 100%.
Yes. Oh, yeah, he will. And I mean, Fatawa and Mavididi. Well, Mavididi we've bought. Fatawa, he's a loan with an option to buy. If we do, even with those two purchases, to me, I said that for me, the signing of the summer for us is Harry Winks.
Yeah, definitely.
He's the best signing of the summer. I mean, I was sat there on the day when it was announced that we signed Winks and Cody. It was a joint announcement, and I was sat with the Man United fan, and he turned around. It's my brother-in-law. He goes, "Fuck off, Chris! You haven't just signed them two." And I go, "Look, we have." Showing the phone, unreal, but. But Mavididi, did you see much at Arsenal? I mean, he's known as the Arsenal wonder kid, but I don't remember him at all.
Yeah, he come up from the academy. I mean, obviously he was in the reserves. I think he actually approached. I think, if I remember correctly, I think he was in the under-16s, and there was talk about him in the a few seasons back. And obviously he made up his way in the reserves. I'm not too sure whether he played. If he actually played like in the Carabao Cup game, because we always seem to like with Arsenal, they always seem to like to play their bit of youth, mixed in with a bit of experienced players. And but yeah, I mean, the best thing to do is actually type in his name and watch him on YouTube. I mean, what he does on there is, with he got pace, he's got skill. In all fairness, he's got eye for goal, Mike. He has got a shot on him. So he's really good and highly rated within that youth policy. But obviously, with Mikel Arteta, he likes to get his own players in and have his own way. So, but all I will say is you really got a good player and a prosperous player for the future.
I think so as well. Scott says there, Chris, not many times me and you disagree. I have to disagree with you yet again, most of the time, Scott. And see our best signing of the season, Enzo Marchesa. Yes, I mean, I actually said that the other night, Scott, on a show. I don't think you were on that one, but I did say Enzo, obviously the manager, because if we didn't get Enzo, then we didn't get probably 6 of the players that we've signed, sort of thing. So, but of the actual players, if you like, then that's Winks. And the funny thing is that the last, what I would call successful Tottenham manager, who was Pochettino, loved Harry Winks, but it all went wrong for him. But anyway, that's the show over. Good night, everybody. Thank you for watching.
We leave on a high.
Yeah, moving on to Millwall versus Hull City. Millwall in 14th, but Hull, I mean, they beat us. They're sat in 10th at the moment with 16 points. Millwall 14 points in 14th. How do you see this one going?
You know what, Chris? I hate Millwall. I hate them with a passion.
Yeah.
Seriously. And Hull ain't doing that bad compared to obviously last season because they just avoided relegation last season, Hull City. So
18th to finish last season.
Yeah, they would, yeah. And they beat us at the beginning part of the season, Hull. So so I feel on this one, I'm going to have to go on the fence, even though what I said about Millwall. So I'm going to go 1-0 with this game.
You are going to go 1-0.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I don't think there's anybody out there that particularly likes Hull, to be honest with you. Likes Millwall, I should say.
Yeah.
And I just got a funny feeling on this one. It's at the Den, and I've gone for 1-0 Millwall.
Right.
Not that I want that, but I just I need the points in the league. So I've gone for 1-0 to Millwall. If it was at Hull, then I'd probably be agreeing with you. But just have a look if anybody else has put Millwall 1, Hull City 2. Says Paul. So he's gone for a Hull win. So that's every base covered there between the three of us. Just seeing if Scott's put one in for that. Scott was ahead of himself, so we're going right back. Scott, if you can re-put these in because they're quite a way back, so I've lost them. But he's gone 3-1 to Hull. So Plymouth versus Swansea. I've been pleasantly surprised by Plymouth. Brad hates them because he doesn't like Gingster's pasties. He says they're not proper Cornish pasties, but he's in St Ives at the moment, and apparently there's local baker down there that makes them better. But no, I mean Plymouth. I think it's always hard for whoever wins the playoffs when they come up to the next division, whatever that division that is, because they've got a couple of less weeks, haven't they, to sort of know what they're doing and plan and get players in. They had a reasonably good start, but they have gone off the boil. And they're down in 16th now. 1-3 drawn 2-5. Scoring goals, they've scored 17, but they've conceded 16. Only won 1 in their last 5. And they're up against a Swansea team that again hasn't had a particularly good start, but they're actually just at one place and 1 point above them in 15th. Swansea. They've won their last 3 games, though, Swansea. How do you see this one?
I can see this one being a high scoring game, Chris. If I had to favour someone, I sort of favour the edge of Swansea. So I'm going to go for a 3-2 Swansea because Plymouth, they turn up when you don't expect it. I mean, we've played them already this season. Bristol City, we beat them 4-1. Plymouth. So we didn't do too bad against them. So that was a good win for us. Yeah. But out of the two, I just have to favour Swansea for that one.
Yeah, I've agreed with you, but I disagreed with the score. I've gone 2-1 to Swansea. I think Swansea have started to score. I said they've won 3 of the last 5, where Plymouth have only won. Well, they've won 1 and they've lost 3 of the last 5. Leicester for life. Hello, how are you? Thanks for popping in. Enjoy your Friday night out. Steve's gone 2-1 to Plymouth. Oh, so he's actually gone for a Plymouth win. And as has indeed Scott, he's gone 2-1 to Plymouth as well. But we know they're all wrong, don't we? And that we're correct. Now, interesting. QPR. Wow. They are sat third from bottom. 8 points. Played 10, won 2, lost 2. Played 10. Let me get this right. 1-2, drawn 2, lost 6. 8 scored, 16 conceded, only 8 points, haven't won in 5, only got 2 draws, but they're hosting a Blackburn side that's struggling themselves. They're only sat in 20th, which is a surprise. I don't think they're happy there. I think the owners have sort of said something about not having the money available or not having what they'd promised Thomason. They've lost 6 as well. They've won 3, conceded 21, and they've lost their last 4, Blackburn. So they are on a real poor run. I've gone for a 1-1 because I can't split these two teams. I was tempted to go for a 0-0, but I have gone 1-1. My fence is back out again. As a fact, Steve's agreed with me. Steve Smart, he's gone 1-1 as well. What about yourself, Anthony?
I can remember being on the prediction championship show, and QPR was one of the teams that I predicted to get relegated this season.
Yeah.
So I've stuck by that, and at the minute it is looking that way for them. So I can't see nothing but a Blackburn win, to be honest with you. So I'm going to go 2-0 Blackburn Rovers.
2-0 Blackburn. Interesting. I think it's going to be a tight. For me, it's a tight game, and neither team in form. The penultimate game, it's the Yorkshire Derby. Sheffield Wednesday, who are having a torrid time. They haven't won a game yet. They've only got 2 points. They're rock bottom, and that's obviously from 2 draws, one of which was in the last 5. They've lost the last 3, and they are hosting the Huddersfield side, who have got their old manager. Because Warnock's not Warnock. Was it Warnock? Yeah, Warnock's left.
Warnock.
The guy that was at Sheffield Wednesday have now taken over Huddersfield. So I think there'll be a bit of bite to this game. Huddersfield are in 19th. They lost last time out. They've only won 1 in the last 5, but they have had 3 draws. But Darren Moore, that's the guy, isn't it? He I think, will slowly, possibly actually turn Huddersfield round. I thought Sheffield Wednesday, when the way that they won the playoff and the way that they got to the playoff final, I just thought they were just going to ride on that emotion. Do you know what I mean? And they are in a club in absolute turmoil. I mean, not so long ago, and rest in peace, Trevor Francis, because he passed away recently, obviously. But you know, they made 2 finals in 1 year. You know, they were in the top division. You know, they've got a ground that's hosted semi-finals. Well, we know what happens at Hillsborough, don't we? Again, RIP. The 96, but I just don't know. The chairman's come out and said he's not going to put any more money into the club as things stand at the moment. I mean, they are in just a hell of a mess, aren't they?
Yeah, they are in a hell of a mess. And then when the chairman comes out and says he's got no money to spend, it doesn't sound like a good vibe across the teams. And also, what you've really got to feel sorry for is the fans, because they're actually paying to watch this. So, you know, there's that in consideration as well. But I mean, there's time. It's gloom and doom in the minute at Sheffield Wednesday. I mean, fair play for them getting promoted last season, but it's going to be real hard for them. Who is it they got again? Sorry, Chris.
Huddersfield.
Do you know what? I'm going to say this because I slightly feel sorry for them. Put me down. I'm going to go on the fence. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw on this one.
Right.
Because it's like what you said. It's like the Yorkshire Derby sort of thing, you know, with obviously other still in Sheffield Wednesday. So it's going to be a tough one. So I'm just going to give Sheffield Wednesday the point. That's the best thing I can do for them. You know?
Yeah. It is a derby, so like you say, everything goes out the window. You got the added fact that the manager of one team was he'll probably get bigger cheers from the Sheffield Wednesday fans than he will from the Huddersfield fans. That's football for you. It's the way it goes. It adds that extra spice, doesn't it, to it?
Yeah.
I've agreed with you. I've gone 1-1. To me, this would be what I would describe as the proverbial last game on Match of the Day. That was, you know, no goals, no shots, or anything like that. I thought Sheffield Wednesday were going to do better than this. I have to be totally honest with you. I had Plymouth to get relegated, and all right, they're not. It's early days. They're not out of it yet. But I've agreed totally with you. Second time tonight, 1-1. I've gone as well. Steve has gone 2-0 to Sheffield Wednesday. I think they have something to prove. They do, but I just think there's once you've got. I know from Leicester last season. Once you've got that feel about the club. Like a fart in a spacesuit, it just hangs around and you can't get rid of it. Scott has gone 2-0 as well to Sheffield Wednesday. And Paul has gone 3-1 to Sheffield Wednesday. So everybody there thinks that Sheffield Wednesday are going to get something from this. So interesting. Now then, your second team, Southampton. They are hosting Rotherham. I have to be honest with you. I actually went to the Southampton game when Leicester played them, and they were bloody awful. They really were. I mean, we scored after 21 seconds. I missed the goal because I was still taunting the Southampton fans because they'd had a sort of somebody come out with a comment about our chairman because they had a minute silence, and obviously everyone that got all the Leicester fans going, and then Vardy went upfield and put the ball in the net, and it's like, what's going on? You know, they've had a topsy-turvy season. I mean, in the last 5, they've lost 3, won 2. You know, they have turned it around because they were on a horrendous run with those 3 losses, but they have turned it around. But they've won 5, drawn 1, lost 4, 16-4, 20 against. I was just surprised how bad they were. In fact, I gave my man of the match in that game to Vestergaard because I thought he had a brilliant game and he was getting a lot of taunts from the Southampton fans, obviously being an ex-Southampton player. But he's like another player that we've got this season. Rotherham sat in 23rd, 1 win, 2 draws, haven't won in the last 5. They've only got 1 point out of the last 15. I can't say anything other than a Southampton win. It's it's going to be a long journey home for those Rotherham fans, and I've gone for a 2-0 to Southampton.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. I mean, Rotherham is always. I mean, this part of the season, they're always down towards the bottom of the table, down in that relegation, and then suddenly they start picking up points. It's like a Birmingham City. They always win a game when you don't expect it. It was on the tail end of last season. Rotherham beat Sheffield United 4-1, believe it or not. So it's sort of like one of those games. But yeah, I agree with yourself, Chris. I can't see nothing but a Southampton win here. So I also said 2-0 Southampton as well.
Yes, I Southampton. Again, they're lacking consistency. That's all it is with them, because the last couple of games they've played well. They beat Stoke midweek with a free kick, but we beat Bristol with the penalty, didn't we? So you take it whatever way it comes. But yeah, they have been inconsistent. I'm just wondering what. It ended Birmingham City 3, West Brom 1.
Oh,
so I've got no points on that one.
I got no points on that one. No.
That's
what I mean.
Both, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean it's a funny. Do you know what? I know Brad. I think he came top of the predictions or something last season, wasn't it? Because it was obviously Premier League. But in all fairness, the Championship is so hard to predict. I'm shriving off my last Championship with Dan when I was on this show. I actually won against him and Kate. So and I don't know if I ever told you what the winning prize was. I may have done. I don't know. But
no, do tell me what you
yes. Well, I found out on the show that obviously I won, and he said to me, "Oh, your prize. We'll reveal your prize on next week's show." I said, "Oh, okay, fine, fair enough." Anyway, next week's show came. Me and Dan's on there. The screen, both of us, we split side by side one another. And do you know what come up in the middle was my prize?
No.
A big bag of dog shit. I said, thank you, Dan. That was what you
Which is basically quite apt because that's how Burnley are playing at the moment.
Exactly. This is what I'm saying because, Burnley got relegated. They've won games. It takes sometimes it takes a team like yourselves to go down, to play well, get in those winning games into that winning form, to go up. But I feel you are going to repeat a Burnley, but I think when you go up next season, you'll do better than what Burnley's doing at the minute.
We will see. We will see.
I know.
We're not there yet.
You've heard it here first.
That said, we are a quarter of the way through the season this weekend. Yeah. Can you believe? Wow, a quarter of the way through the season. So there's no games next week. So just to let everybody know, Monday night at 7:00, we've got a classic match review. So we're going to be looking at the playoff final with Claridge's famous shinned winner in the 97th minute. Oh, no, 127 minutes, whatever it was. So Julian Watts, who put the cross in for Claridge to score, will be joining us. So we'll be looking back and talking through that game and the build-up to it, etc. So that's Monday at 7, classic match with Julian Watts, the playoff, say, Palace 1, Leicester 2. And then on Wednesday at 7:00, I'll be joined by Kate and Ant, and we will be doing a review of Leicester's season so far. So we're going to have huge smiles on our face as well. Now, it's funny because Brad says what a difficult prediction league this is to try and get right. It's funny that those of us that are at the top end aren't finding it particularly difficult, but some of you at the other end are. So let's have a look. I've not brought the tables up yet, but this is last week's scores. So Anthony, you got 7 points last week.
Right.
Brad got 11. Oof. I only got 7. Oh no, sorry, I got 6. Sorry, you got 16. Sorry, 16. I got 16. Brad got 11. Craig got 16. Doug 19. Jeff 18. Oh, you can see the rest of them there. Steve Lynex. What we're doing with Steve. Steve is going to join us week in when he can, but obviously with his job work, he can't always make it, especially on a Friday because he's finishing off for the weekend. So we're actually going to take Steve out of the league itself because it's not fair on the guy because he doesn't get any points if he doesn't turn up. But Told You didn't get his votes in, his scores in on time either, so he got no points last week. And Nippon's dropped out because he hadn't done it for about 3 weeks on the trot, so he was dropped. But the biggies last week were Doug with 19, Jeff with 18, and Mike with 17. So, that was the one, Stephen. Goalkeeper came on, Kalach, ready for penalties. He was something like 6'7". We all laughed at him, and he went on to play for AC Milan. So he didn't do too bad out of it. Are you ready for the league table? Drum roll.
Yes, we're ready.
If only I had some suitable music. I don't know if I've got the EastEnders tune.
I don't think that every breathing one, whatever you do, Chris.
Yeah, I've got what have I got here? That's for Mike, and I haven't got the EastEnders drum kit. So let's have a look and go and see how the table is looking. Here we go. So Brad is bottom still with 47, and it goes all the way up there. You're not on there, Anthony.
No, I'm not on there.
Are you in the league?
Yeah. Because we created a chat on Twitter. Well, I call it Twitter, it's X now, but yeah.
Told You, John. Oh, he's got 2 Shane O's in as well. I'm guessing one of those Shane O's is you.
I'm most probably guessing that, yeah, because I was on Oh, blimey, I think the last time on the league, I think I was on 38 points. So roughly that makes it for that 16. Yeah, it makes it roughly around about 58 points. Yeah, I should be on.
Yeah.
So I think one of
You
them's
got
me.
16 and Shane O got. He did this the other week. He put two people's results in. You see, can't get the staff these days.
You can't, can you? Shame on you,
No,
Brad.
no. I am going to have to fine him for this. If I paid him, I'd dock him wages. I would
Yeah.
tell you, but as soon as I don't pay him, I can't. So one of those is yourself. All up, I say Jeff's got 80, Doug 78, Shane D 73. Oh look, there I am in Europa League places. I'm fourth with 71, just ahead of
Yes,
you,
you were.
Steve Smart. Yeah, I didn't know that. I have saved it, Anthony, before we go. Scott, sorry, before we go. It was off topic, so I wasn't going to wait. I was going to wait till the end. But yeah, told you's at 50. I mean, Brad, bless him, he can't. He told you doesn't get any points because he didn't put any scores in, and Brad's still below him. And yet he was the one that was bragging about always winning the prediction league the last 3 seasons.
Yeah.
But in fairness, it was easier to predict the Premier League because we've been in there 9 seasons. We knew what the teams were capable of.
Yeah.
And we're not. So anyway, Scott did ask this question earlier, and I did star it, and I said I'd come up because it's nothing to do with the prediction league. We just said, have the Arsenal fans started doing the Poznan? I don't know what he's on about, but
The Poznan.
the Poznan, it's where they turn the back on the pitch, isn't it? And
Yeah, yeah. I think maybe some of them have. Definitely. There's a few people on streams. I mean, taking that consideration against the in the Champions League game we lost against 2-1 against Lons. So
yeah,
you know, our keeper Rea, he basically kicked the ball to the opposition, and through that, obviously they went and exploited that and scored and beat us 2-1. So there's a lot of you know, horrible stuff being said about that. Obviously, we got Man City Sunday. We've got, I believe, Saka and Martinelli. Both of them are injured.
Right.
So, you know, we don't know
where.
where.
I don't know if it's yourself I said to, but they read somewhere about somebody said that Saka had been running to the ground or something. You know, he's been playing that much.
He is. He's playing too many games, and he's eventually. We're all worried he's going to get burnt out because we've got no player to replace him. In other words, you know, to rotate him. So he's our main player at the minute. Fortunately, he's out injured. Martinelli's out injured. I mean, in January, I think we might put Havertz out on loan. So Leicester, you know, there's a player for you in the making if you want to loan Havertz for the rest of the season.
Well, who knows? Would he get in the team at the moment? That's the question.
Alongside Harry Winks, that'd be good.
Well, I'm just looking now. I mean, and in fairness, you're third. Still, you're only a point off Manchester City. You haven't lost this season yet in the league.
No.
So it isn't a disaster for you at all, is it?
No, it's not a disaster at all. It just seemed that we've been picking up more draws than obviously we've been winning games, but we have been picking up quite a few draws of recent. So, I mean, the last the game was we beat Bournemouth 4-0, and the game before that it was 2-2 against Tottenham. But as an Arsenal fan, seeing about Tottenham,
I think I watched that on.
there's still life after Harry Kane, you know.
Yeah. Well, there's life with Madison, isn't there? I have to be honest with you. I haven't watched any Premier League football this season, and I went round to me. No. It just hasn't. I suppose because we're not in there. I don't see the point, you know. Yeah. And I went round to my son's because he'd just come back off his honeymoon, and he said, "Should we put the football on, Dad?" I went, "Yeah, go on." It was a Sunday, and it was that game. The North. He said it was North London derby. There's always a bit of there's always goals and what have you. And I've got to be honest with you, watching that game made me realise, thank God we haven't got VAR this season.
Yeah.
The referees in this division, Championship, I've got to say, I've moaned about them, but I have to take it all back because you sit there and you're going like, oh, for God's sake, referee. And then you're thinking, no, hang on, we could have VAR. You carry on, referee.
Carry on. Yeah, it's true. I mean, for instance, look at the Tottenham and Liverpool game.
Yes.
That was a bad decision on VAR. And
we were supposed to have that referee at the weekend, I believe.
Oh, was it? Oh, God,
yeah.
I bet you guys didn't.
He's been dropped now, though, of course, but
yeah.
I mean, they're always dirty games, aren't they? In fairness, Arsenal, Tottenham.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
But the number of times he was blowing up, and the referees do seem to let more go in the Championship. And I know, obviously, I want to get promoted back. Of course, I do, but I'm always thinking, like, oh God, if we go back up, we got VAR. I mean, we score a goal. You see the player turn around to look at the linesman. Linesman's got his flag down. You celebrate. None of this waiting 25 minutes while they do. Oh, not in the case of Liverpool and Tottenham, but some of this hanging about, waiting and what have you. But
yeah. Oh, I believe Klopp's trying to get the game replayed.
Oh, you can't do that though. Where does it end?
No, exactly.
That would open a huge can of worms because
definitely
any decision. It's like you could get then Chelsea saying we want to play the FA Cup final because Chilwell's big toe wasn't offside. I don't like VAR. I've got to be honest with you. I wanted VAR. I'm not going to lie. I wanted it, but I'm saying now, just give it back to the referees.
Yeah. I think the best thing they've done, Chris, going back a while ago, is the goal line technology. That's the only best thing they've done in this game.
Yeah. Yes. I said to my son, thing with VAR is VAR does not work with the rules of football as they are at the moment.
No.
They need to change the rules to adapt to VAR because you can't change VAR. VAR is what it is, and you need to make the rules fit VAR. And some of the rules, I mean, not the offside, but the handballs. It's bloody ridiculous. It really is,
Yeah.
But anyway, that's another show for another time, and we could be talking all night about it.
That's right. Yeah.
I presume you're on television if you play Man City.
Yes, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's at 2:30 kickoff Sunday.
Oh, is it? Right.
Yeah.
Are you at the Emirates or are you at...
Oh, is it the Emirates? Arsenal are home. So they got home advantage, but, I think they're going to have to play... they'll have to play Trossard. I think they'll play Reece Nelson on the right wing, obviously, to replace Saka. So... Yeah. There's attacking options there. I mean, Trossard, he's a good player, but he obviously he doesn't play that first team football. It's like he normally comes on like in the last 20-25 minutes of the game.
And you at the moment, are you trusting the process? Or are you Arteta in or Arteta out? I mean, at the moment, I watched Del Boy Gunner's channel a couple of times. It's always good for a laugh, to be honest with you. I just like counting how many swear words he uses in a short space of time. But, I mean, they were absolutely panning Arteta after one game recently. I don't know what it was. And thinking, like, I mean, I'm looking there and you're third, for God's sake. What do you expect? Are you still trusting the process?
You know what, Chris? I'm on the fence with this process. I'm 50-50. I mean, he's got to deliver for me, Arteta. It's not going to be the Champions League. I wouldn't mind a decent run in it, maybe reach around the 16 quarterfinals. Mm-hmm. Firstly, this season, as an Arsenal fan, myself in particular, I want the Premier League and maybe the FA Cup. I know 2 trophies have been a bit greedy, but I mean, the money he's had he's had 750 million. Arteta in 4 seasons, and he spent every penny. But obviously, no Arsenal fan can't say he's been back. He hasn't been backed. He has been backed by our owners. But it's only him that can deliver. And unfortunately, if he doesn't deliver, if we finish fourth, two places less than last season without a trophy, I could see him gone.
But do you think it's unfortunate that it's like, as a comparison, I suppose, Andy Murray in tennis, had it not been for Djokovic, he'd have won a hell of a lot more. It just happened to be the timing. And the same with sort of Arsenal, Liverpool, and some of the other big teams. You've got Manchester City there. It's almost like from kickoff, it's a case of, right, playing for second.
Yeah. You can't. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's like last season, we finished second and Man United finished third. But they got to a final of an FA Cup and won the Carabao Cup. But because they won that silverware, I still say Manchester United, they had the better season last season than what Arsenal did.
Yeah. And I understand you saying that because whoever remembers whoever came second.
Exactly.
I do know who came second in 15-16, but that's another.
Oh, God.
Sorry, I had to mention that. I also remember who came third. Any Tottenham fans that are watching, but look. Well, good luck with the season. Good luck at the weekend, Anthony. Thanks so much for coming on and helping me out here.
No, that's right, Chris.
It. And give my best to your wife. I'm sure she's warmed herself up.
Oh God, blimey! I hope it's repeat.
She probably said, "I'll see you after the show. If you're not there, I'll start myself."
Okay.
do say hello. Do say hello.
I will do.
Thanks very much, mate. All the best, and we'll
That's
speak
okay,
again.
Chris. Yeah,
Thanks
give us a shout anytime you need someone to come on. I'll come on and do the predictions.
How do people find you? Sorry, that was very rude of me. How do people find you to follow you on things?
Yeah, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. My name is Anthony Herbert. You can also follow me on Friday nights and Sunday nights on Football United TV, where I host two shows, Gunners from All Corners and the Premier League Weekend Show. And also, you can follow me Friday nights, which I'm just about to go on there now, on the Man United agenda.
Well, you are spreading yourself all over. Two shows. Twice a week, Anthony will have to call you now.
Exactly. I've always been known to spread my legs, Chris. But don't get that right.
On that note, thanks very much, mate. Take care. All the best. Cheers.
And you, mate. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Oh, I've got that thought in my brain now. I'm going to be taking that thought to bed with me. Thank you, Anthony. I don't think I want to take that to bed with me. But no, thanks to Anthony for coming on and digging me out of there. It would have been a very short show otherwise. So I do appreciate that, Anthony. Thank you so very much. Be sure to go and give him a follow. So we are back tomorrow, Saturday. We are with the Watch Along. Can we create a new record for the second tier? We've already equaled it, I believe. I believe if we win tomorrow, then we actually go, we've created a new record. Somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that is true. And it would be great to go, if we can get a draw for Preston and Ipswich, and then we can go into the international break, 4 points clear, 3 points clear of Ipswich. No, because we'll get 3. So that will give us 4 points clear. I was right. 4 points clear of Ipswich and 5 points clear of no more than that. 8 points clear of Preston. I used to be able to do maths, It just doesn't add up anymore. Fingers crossed. Last international break, who did us? It's not a wet weekend in Stoke because it's in Leicester. So fingers crossed. Thanks so very much. So we'll see you 2:15 tomorrow for the live watch along. And then we're going to be back on Monday night at 7:00, and we are going to be doing the classic game, the playoff final, Crystal Palace versus Leicester City, which we won 2-1, and we will be having Julian Watts, ex-Fox, played in that match, and we'll be having a chat with him about that match. And then on Wednesday, we'll be doing a season review of the quarter of the season already. Wow, it's not going too bad for Leicester. Ian, good evening. We've got Stoke tomorrow, mate, at home. So it's going all right. bit of a lark, isn't it? This championship. Now, I'm not getting too big-headed, not getting too carried away. As a Leicester fans, it's just nice to be winning again. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you for joining in. And thanks for Anthony again for coming on. Really, really, really do appreciate it. This has been LTID TV. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new. And please smash the likes as well. It really does help the channel. And I will see you tomorrow, hopefully at 2:15. Take care, stay safe. And I always say, come on, you foxes.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network.
TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.